Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo and Joe Barry in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally, and I mean literally, does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. And good morning, Miss Jackie, who just said good morning to me while I'm getting this stuff going today. It is Taco Tuesday. I don't know what you're having, but today we're going to have some keto tacos for dinner today. I can't wait because I love Taco Tuesday. But also, too, this means 1 week is down in the time period of the 2 weeks to franchise tag, transition tag, or I forgot the other one. I'm having brain farts here, okay? I'm getting old. To tag a player. That means the Cowboys have 1 week left to get Dak Prescott's deal either done or to franchise tag him or to let him walk. Let's go to Jane Slater here with a little tad bit of information here.
Busy today.
Okay, you didn't say I couldn't do it, so I'm going to put it up. Who would you rather have, Dak Prescott or Russell Wilson?
Well, what team?
The Cowboys and the Seahawks. You're the Cowboys. And you could, let's say hypothetically, you could do this trade. This isn't, oh God, this is close to being reality.
No, this is just clicks.
No. What, Mark Rogers called Adam Schefter and said the Cowboys
Why
or whatever.
are you yelling at me?
Because this is
It's
not
close.
Let me bring in Jane Slater. She doesn't deal with clicks. She is clicks. NFL Network reporter. You can follow her on Twitter at Slater NFL. All right, Jane, separate fact from fiction here.
Thank you.
Can you?
I'm with you, Dan, and you know how this works. You've been doing covering the league long enough. You've been keeping an eye on the Cowboys long enough. Anytime you put the Dallas Cowboys in a headline, people are going to talk about it. And so we're talking about this because a report came out from Adam Schefter that he would entertain a trade if it was Dallas and the Cowboys. So, of course, now it's the offseason. We haven't heard a lot about this Dak contract. So now everyone's talking about it. But when I reached out to one of my team sources, they found it laughable. And that's because they are still trying to truly get this long-term deal done. And we're looking at the tag being somewhere around $37.7 million. We are going to probably hear something about that closer to that tag deadline of March 9th. And then they're going to have to clear some cap space by March 17th to start really effectively having those long-term discussions. And then they, of course, shut this thing down in June. I don't think he's heading for a third tag. They can still do that. That third tag is going to be somewhere in the market of $54 million, which is absurd. They could, of course, give him the non-exclusive tag. That gives them 5 days to match an offer from another team, then possibly pick up 2 first-round compensatory picks. But the goal here is still to get him signed to a long-term deal. And why would they continue using these costly tags on him if they didn't feel like he was their franchise guy? And oh, by the way, last year's money was in the ballpark of Russell Wilson / Jared Goff type money. Now he's looking to be paid right behind Patrick Mahomes, a guy who's gone to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Dak hasn't done that yet. So they feel like it's been a respectable offer. His camp believes that he needs to bear what the market value is. And they feel like this deal should have gotten done 2 years ago, so your problems with money aren't our problems. It's about respect. So there still is no change from last year and years past, Dan. There has to be some give by both sides in order to get this done, but I truly feel like they want to get it done, and as I was told by a team source, it feels, and their tone kind of went up a bit, a little bit more productive, but there still haven't been a lot of meaningful conversations.
Poll question.
Okay, so interesting thing that Jane Slater said right there. Respect. I've said that more than anything else. I think that more than anything else, let's be clear. You know, Dak had the whole 7-Eleven, game lounge. We know that Dak Prescott is, Sleep Member and Frito-Lays and Pepsi, that, he's making generational wealth. We know that, okay? But, you could say, well, Mark, you're making money, as a general contractor. So you should do, YouTube for free. What I make as a general contractor has nothing to do with the job that I'm doing here. Because in the end, Dak Prescott, as you can see, and I don't know how many of you have had a compound fracture before. A compound fracture where your leg is literally decapitated or de-ankleated or whatever you want to call it. That's what that person is doing on the line, as every NFL player is. And every single one of them tries to get the most money they can. But for some reason, people figure you're not supposed to. I don't understand that, because we're not talking about, Josh Allen, that he shouldn't. We're not saying Lamar Jackson should. We're not saying that anybody else shouldn't try and maximize their money. But be that as it may, this is more of, Kirk Cousins can say to his family, I was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Didn't say I was the best. I was the highest paid. Jimmy Garoppolo can say I was the highest paid. Derek Carr can say I was the highest paid. All these guys were at least given some love and some respect by their teams to say, we believe with you. Whether the numbers are watered down where it's really not that big, they can at least feel like, hey, I'm the man. And this is where we have constantly heard from the Cowboys and hate from the fans that, you should take a discount. So respect is what Jane Slater's saying. Now, I'm not saying, he's probably not saying that he should be paid more than Pat Mahomes, but that has nothing to do with the way the system works. And again, this is the Cowboys' problem for being short-sighted and looking down the road and saying, well, if we pay him $30 million now, yeah, that's the top of the heap. But, we know the projections are going to go up, because 4 years before that $30 million, Drew Brees was the highest at 20. You have to look at that and say, yeah, 2 years from now, it's going to be chump change. But the Cowboys didn't do that. And in the same way, you look at it now and say, yeah, well, if it is $40 million, it's going to be chump change in a couple of years. Now, my thing was this. This is what I suggested several weeks ago. I said, listen, if I'm Todd France, I go in and say, look, Jerry, we love you. We love the Cowboys. We love playing for the Cowboys. This is nothing personal. It's only business. You want 5 years. Okay, we'll give you 5 years. But here's what we want. We want $220 million. $44 million a year. This will go ahead. We say the last year is voidable if you want. Okay? We'll go through. We'll give you that 5th year. We're going to go ahead, because we're making it so long, we're going to make it a higher number. We're not going to be higher than Pat Mahomes, but we're going to be the second highest paid. Show us the love. The reality is that number, when the new money starts kicking in, that contract will be golden. Works out to $44 million a year. We can make that first year team friendly. Get you the cap relief. Get us the respect. And we can move on from here. And if you don't want to do it, we're cool with that. We're okay playing on the franchise tag. We're cool. It's nothing personal. Only business. Now, you've had 2 years to do this. 2 years. And you're dragging your feet. However, here's what I'll say. You heard Jane Slater, and I can't guarantee that that's what they're looking for. Jane Slater said before that he was looking for $40 million when it turns out the 35 would have been okay. It was the length of the contract. And quite frankly, the Cowboys would have been better off signing that at 4 years and gotten that out of the way, but be that as it may. Because 2 years of 37.7 and 31 averages out to about 35. So you've already paid that, but be that as it may. They need to get it done and over with or move on. Last night during my live stream, we kind of went through the quarterback listing over the last 10 years of first-round drafted quarterbacks. And I got to tell you, it's not very likely that you get a winner. Yeah, there's Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, in there, but there's a whole lot of Josh Rosens in there and Sam Darnolds and Jamarcus Russells too. Getting a quarterback in the NFL is hard. It's really hard. And I want to visit one more thing here before I get out of here. I was going back through, and I want to pull this up. We have so many people that are like, oh, you got to get Russell Wilson. You got to get Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson, he's the guy, automatically you're going to win with Russell Wilson. Well, in the playoffs, the Cowboys did win. Sorry, let me adjust this a little bit here. Broadcast media. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Broadcast media in full effect. When we played the Seahawks in the playoffs, Cowboys won. Just pointing that out. And when we played the Seahawks this past year, when you look at the numbers, the things in here that will tell you why the Cowboys lost. Dallas had 110 more yards on offense, okay? They averaged over a half a yard per play. They averaged 7.8 yards per pass play versus 6.7. The difference in this game was we had 2 interceptions and a fumble by Zeke and rushing yards. We rushed in that whole game 61 yards, 117 for Seattle. Penalties, they got 10 penalties in that game. And what was the other stat I was looking at? Here we go. 2.9 yards per rush is what we averaged for 4.5. With all of that, with the 3 turnovers, with the defense and everything else, we were still in this game to the end. 38-31. Now, I'll blame Dak Prescott for 2 interceptions on this game. In fact, I want to go back through and look at the highlights and see the 2 interceptions, if they were bad passes, tip passes, whatever. But this team lost as a team. Zeke Elliott, 31 yards, and I still believe he was dealing with the residual from COVID. We didn't have a running game. We had a lot of penalties. We gave up a lot of yards on the ground. We had turnovers. With all of that, we were still in this game. 31 points with all of those things on there. This team, and this is without an offensive line, this team, if they can cut down on the mistakes, get Zeke Elliott going a little bit, and just slow down the run a little bit, can be a really, really good team. Now, I'm not going to look at here and say that, well, Russell Wilson, now he did have 5 touchdown passes in this game, but I'm not going to look and say Russell Wilson was head and shoulders above the Dallas Cowboys and that he was the sole reason that the Cowboys lost this game. I can't say there's that big a difference in there. The difference is not being able to run the ball, not being able to stop the run, penalties, and turnovers. Cowboys eliminate those things, they're a championship team. All right, y'all. That is all I got for you this morning. We'll see if we have any more breaking news. Again, Jane Slater reporting that Dak Prescott wants to be right behind Pat Mahomes as far as compensation. We'll see what happens with that. I haven't heard the Cowboys say he's being outrageous, so there's that. I will see you later.